Hello and welcome to the Podcast Coach. My name is David Doucette, and I am thrilled to be bringing you this video of the audio podcast that I am about to record. What I've decided to do is essentially record the video of myself recording the audio podcast. And what this does, it allows the audio podcast, or allows the podcast to now be on YouTube so people can tune in and watch it there. And I've tried this with another podcast that I do, and it has been really well received. People like video. That's how we consume a lot of our information now. So I'm really excited to be adding this video component to it. So you can always go to podcastcoach.com and see the video for the audio episodes, or go to the YouTube channel Podcast Coach, and you'll still get, or those of you that are used to getting the audio content or the high quality audio content will still get that. I still take the audio file and run it through Adobe Audition in a multi-band compression process, so I still get, or you will still get, the high quality audio. This video is maybe a little bit of a behind the scenes or look, I should say. So hopefully enjoy it, and I'm about to record episode number 4. So let's hit the record button, and here we go. Podcast Coach, episode number 4. Oh, I had it muted. There it is. See, I'm not going to edit this out either. Here we go. Let's try that one again. Let's stop it. See, all the stuff you don't see or you don't hear when you hear the finished product. All right, here we go. Let's get this queued up. Unmute that button this time on the mixer. And here we go. Podcast Coach, episode number 4. Hello and welcome to Podcast Coach, the podcast dedicated to helping you discover and pursue your passion for podcasting. My name is David Doucette, and today we are going to talk all about choosing the right equipment for your budget needs. And that is coming up right now. Welcome, my name is David Doucette. I'm coming to you from my studio in Santa Monica, California, and also I want to welcome the video viewers to the podcast, because what I have begun doing with another podcast is actually recording the session of the audio recording. So I'm video recording it as well with my cool camera on the 27-inch iMac that is recording me recording the audio portion, if that makes sense. It's simpler than it sounds, but what this does is it allows me to put the podcast on YouTube and also have the video along with the audio episode on my website at podcastcoach.com as well. So it just gives another choice for listeners to consume the content, and consuming video is something that we enjoy doing. I enjoy doing consuming video, so hopefully you're going to like it as well. And for you audio listeners who don't want to deal with video, you still will get the high quality audio file that you have come to expect, and that still runs through the whole Adobe Audition and my multi-band compression. So you'll still get that same file. Okay, excited about today's show because we're talking all about choosing the equipment for your needs. And this is an important topic because it's going to set up how you're going to continue to do podcasting in the near future, in the short term. Episode number 1, we talked all about the 12 P's of podcasting, which really was the 28,000-foot overview of the entire process of podcasting. Episode 2, we talked all about building the foundation of your podcast, and no equipment talk there at all. The foundation really had to do with setting up your website, choosing your domain name, setting up WordPress, and creating that solid foundation, because on top of that will go your equipment and your microphone selection, which in episode 3, we talked all about microphones, and we talked about condenser microphones versus dynamic microphones, and I did a test of 4 microphones that I have here in the studio, 2 Logitech USB mics, and my Shure SM58, which is my studio guest mic, and then the Heil PR40, which I love, which is the one that I record most of my podcasts on, and the one that I'm on right now. So, and in fact, I'm going to take that audio sample and reduce it down to a clip and put it on the equipment page that's on my to-do list, because it's a good synopsis of the different sounding of the different sounds of the microphones. So today's topic, we're going to talk about choosing the right equipment, and I'm going to talk about choosing your equipment with a budget under $100, with a budget around $250, with a budget around $500, and a budget above $500. So I want you to walk away from today's episode hopefully having a clearer idea of, okay, this is the money, or this is my budget, and this is what I need to do, almost as some kind of action list. And I'm going to be referring to my equipment page because I have equipment packages there. This is not an advertisement to sell equipment packages. It is more to educate you and provide education and provide you with the knowledge that's out there so you can make the appropriate decisions. And the equipment page is a good way for you to kind of see the different choices. So that's how I'm going to be referring to that. And of course, you can buy equipment from there, but again, that's not what the purpose of today is. So let's start first with, let's say our budget is under $100. David, I want to start podcasting. I really don't have more than $100 to spend. What do you recommend? What I would recommend is probably the Snowball microphone. I talked a little bit about this last week. Actually, one of my friends, Tommy, has a Snowball, which he's going to lend me because I want to do an audio test with it. But you can find that on Amazon for about $67. It is a condenser microphone, so it is going to be sensitive to noise and pick up a lot of background noise. What you could do is, if you are going to use that microphone, is make sure you're in a room that has a lot of sort of absorbing sound quality so you don't get a lot of echo, kind of like a walk-in closet with a lot of clothes. You can get some decent sound out of the Snowball microphone. So it's a USB, so it will plug into your computer and you're recording on your computer. And it's a pretty decent option for under $100. Now, here's the thing though, and I guess my word of caution is, if you purchase the Snowball and you decide you really love podcasting and you want to purchase more equipment, or you want to upgrade, so to speak, and it will happen if you like podcasting, trust me. It's kind of like upgrading anything else. But when you purchase new equipment, the Snowball microphone, you won't have a use for it. You're not going to be able to sort of add it on to now your upgraded equipment. And once you get better equipment, you just won't have a use for it. So it, in some respects, it's going to be $67 out the window if you upgrade. But with that said, if you produce 25, 30, 40 episodes, I mean, you really get your podcast going with the Snowball mic, then you're getting your use out of it. I just want to caution you, if you're only going to use it for a couple of episodes and now I'm ready to upgrade already, then I would take a step back and think about where you want to enter the market with your equipment. So that is the Snowball USB condenser microphone, $67 on Amazon. Now I'm going to talk about, let's see, what I'm going to do. Let's see, $100. You know, that really is, I'm looking at my show notes here, that really is probably your best option under $100. There's not a whole lot of other options out there. Of course, there's the $50 headset mics and all of that we talked about last episode. But really, for a decent mic, I think that people enjoy, that gets great reviews on Amazon, the Snowball is probably your best bet for under $100. So let's talk about the budget around $250. And here you actually do have some choices. And I'm excited about these choices that you have, because when we start getting into the $250 range, depending on which equipment we might purchase, we can continue to use it as we might get more into podcasting, as we might find the bug more. The equipment we're purchasing in this range, we're going to continue to be able to use that as we upgrade. So that's nice. A couple of choices here. Let's talk again about USB microphones. There's one microphone I want to mention. It is the Rode USB podcasting mic. It is a dynamic microphone, just like the Heil PR40 that I'm on right now. It is a dynamic microphone. It's less sensitive to background noise and really picks up the noise right in front of the mic, but you really have to get your mouth up onto that mic. I'm about an inch away or so. That microphone is available for about $229 on Amazon, and it is a USB mic, so it plugs right into your computer. Now, our budget's around $250 here. You're also going to need the shock mount and either a tabletop stand or a boom mount as well for that. So you're really probably looking at more closer to $300, or if you go with the boom mount, probably a little more for the Rode. So don't think you can just buy the Rode microphone and be done. You're going to have to buy a couple of accessories, because you're not going to want to handhold this microphone. I have not used this microphone. I don't have experience with this microphone. I do know other podcasters like this microphone. I see it on some of the people I follow, or some of the videos I see online of the more serious video content providers, or producers, I should say. They have the Rode USB microphone. So it's a popular microphone because you don't need a mixer for it. You can plug it right into your computer and get decent sound and start podcasting right away. So that is one option. And again, we're talking about recording into the computer. And I've mentioned in the past that I am not a fan of that. I prefer to record into a digital audio recorder, such as my Edirol R-09, which is what I record all my episodes into. And we're going to talk about digital recorders in a minute. I'm looking down my show notes. In fact, you know what I want to do? Let's talk about digital voice recorders right now, because our budget is around $250. We have a couple of options with digital voice recorders. And the reason why I like this is if you're just starting out, if you purchase a digital voice recorder only as your recording device, you can then upgrade whatever your equipment you want to upgrade in the future, and you can still use that digital voice recorder. So it is actually a smart investment if I'm in kind of the $250 budget. It's something to seriously consider. And let's talk about a couple of options here. So I have the Edirol R-09HR, which is made by Roland, and it is no longer available. They have a newer model out. But what I am going to do in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to, let's see here, to a podcast that I do, my personal journey. It's called The Pursuit of Mindful Living. I fluctuate on where I record that. Sometimes I record it in the studio. Sometimes I record it just with the Edirol and the onboard condenser mic. So I'm going to put a link to the show notes to one of the episodes I did that I recorded it just using the onboard condenser mic with the Edirol, just held in my hand and about 6 inches away recording an episode. So I'm going to put a link to the show notes so you can hear that. The quality, it's not bad. It's fairly decent, and again, it's a condenser mic, so it's going to pick up a lot of extra noise, but it can be cool. For example, if you're doing an interview with somebody and you're in a restaurant, that sort of restaurant ambiance can sort of add to the show a little bit. So the digital voice recorders are very cool. The one that Roland now has that replaced the Edirol R-09 is actually the R-05. I don't know why they went down in numbers, but it is the Roland R-05, and I am actually have a little treat for the video viewers. Here it is. I have one right here, and it is still in the box. I just received it last week. I haven't had a chance to open it, but it is the R-05. It sells for around $200. And I'm excited to try it out, mainly because I wanted to see what it could do, and I could use actually a second digital voice recorder because I could keep my Edirol here in the office and then use my other one to take around with me. So I'm excited to try it out. And two more voice recorders I want to talk about are digital voice recorders. Are the Zooms, and you've probably heard of the Zooms. They're made by Samson. There is a Zoom H2, which sells for about $150 on Amazon. And then there's the Zoom H4n, which sells for about $290 on Amazon. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have experience with the Zoom digital voice recorders, but people like these recorders. They get well reviewed, oftentimes mentioned in the same sentence with the Roland. The H2 is a less expensive option at $150. Now the H4n is an interesting digital audio recorder or digital voice recorder because it has two XLR inputs, meaning you could take a microphone such as the Shure SM58 or the Heil PR40 and plug it directly into the digital voice recorder of the Zoom H4n. So that's actually pretty cool, and it has a little sort of, you can mix it somehow in there, because I have a friend who just bought one of these, and he's actually recording Skype conversations running a microphone via the XLR import in there, and he's able to mix it and adjust the levels so that that him and his guest are at the same level. So it's a pretty versatile digital audio recorder. It's more money than the Roland R-05 at about $290 on Amazon, but you can plug a microphone directly into it. So it's a pretty cool voice recorder. I think any of these, I was going to say 4 choices, but you really only have 3 because the Edirol's no longer made. So The Roland R-05, about $200 on Amazon. The Zoom H2, about $150 on Amazon. And the Zoom H4n, about $290 on Amazon. I don't think you can make a wrong choice with either of those three. And the Roland is just what I started out with, so that's where I'm partial to, because that's what I know. And again, if you are beginning to think about spending around the $250, I would highly suggest you seriously consider purchasing the digital audio recorder before even purchasing the Rode USB podcasting mic. But again, it's going to depend on the kind of podcasting you want to do. If you want to do more interviews, well, as I mentioned with the Zoom H4n, you can actually do those with Skype interviews with those. So it's just gonna come down to a personal choice. If it was me and I had a budget of $250, I would start with a digital voice recorder for sure, because that's easily going to fit into whatever upgrade package I have. The next thing I want to talk about is, let's say our budget is around $500. Well, actually, before I get out of the $250 range, you can, for a little more money, purchase the Shure SM58, which is a dynamic microphone, and a small little Behringer mixer. I have the, what's the little one on my my equipment page is the 802. It's a little 6-channel mixer, which actually gives you 4 channels for podcasting, but it has 2 XLR ports and also a couple of channels, one to bring computer sounds in, and also to record Skype conversations, and then you can send all of that out to your digital audio recorder or to another computer if you're recording into your computer. But let me talk about mixers for a second, because for me personally, I think this is the way to go. And if you purchase the $230 Rode USB mic, then you're taking yourself a little bit out of the mixer game, because now your microphone goes right into your computer. The way a mixer works is it's the brains behind the operation. So the mixer I have hooked up right here in the office right now, the Behringer 1204, I have my Heil PR40 plugs into that. My Shure SM58 studio mic plugs into that. Skype plugs into that. My JK Audio broadcast host, which allows me to record telephone interviews, plugs into that. The computer plugs into that. My computer plugs into that to send audio into the mixer. So the mixer is a collection. It collects all of these different sources, brings them together, mixes them together, and sends it out one little, I guess, channel, you can call it, out to either, if you're recording into your computer, or the digital audio recorder. So it takes all of this, these different resources, brings it down into one little thing, and then sends that one little thing out to your digital audio recorder. So it brings everything together. I really like it because it's very versatile. It allows you to really have a lot of control over your shows, and it's just nice. And if you're thinking you might just end up be doing Skype interviews, maybe you could use the Zoom H4n, the digital audio recorder, or maybe you could use the Snowball mic and record Skype interviews into the computer. I think you can do that way, yeah. But if you want to start adding studio guests, or you want to start adding phone interviews, or you want to have like a studio guest and a person on Skype, you're going to need a mixer to do that. And even with the Rode podcast microphone, if you have a studio guest, now what are you going to do? You could try and share that microphone and pass it back and forth and see how long that lasts. It's just, and then you just spent $300 on this USB microphone that that doesn't give you a lot of upgrade options, I guess. So I'm partial to the mixer route. I know everybody will not be. I'm certainly not trying to talk anybody into going the mixer route. What I want you to do is to think about what package makes this, or what setup makes the most sense for you, and that's what I want you to do. What I don't want you to do is get overwhelmed and not do anything, because the mission here at Podcast Coach is to spread the love of podcasting, and that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to, well, spread the love of podcasting. So I like the mixer route, and that's why I highly recommend, if you don't have a lot of money at the beginning, then to really look at those digital voice recorders, because once you buy one of those, you can then later on buy a mixer, or buy the microphone, or buy other pieces of equipment, and then you can still record into your digital audio recorder. I mean, it's amazing. So I think that's where I would start. Okay. Mixers we talked about. So now I want to talk about a couple of things here with the mixers, and I'm going to reference a couple on my website. And I have another treat to show our video viewers. The mixers, there's a trend now, or maybe it's not even a trend, but a lot of mixers allow for USB input. So you can take a USB and plug it right into a computer and record into the computer. And it's actually amazing how popular this is. And I know people will only record into a computer. Again, my fear of recording into a computer is computers crash, and I don't want to lose that interview that I worked 3 weeks to get, or that once-in-a-lifetime interview. I personally do not want to trust that to my computer. And I tried recording in a computer at home and lost an episode. It was just me talking, so it wasn't a big deal, but I learned very early on that not to rely on that. But again, I'm not trying to dissuade anybody. I just want you to understand the potential risk. And there's people out there who will say, I've recorded, hundreds of episodes into a computer and never had a problem. So I'll leave that decision up to you. So for the USB mixers, I have on my equipment page, there is the Behringer 1204, which is what I have actually, but the version I have is not the USB, because this mixer is about, I think, 2.5 years old now. And I like this mixer, and I'm about to switch it out to the next mixer I'm going to talk to you about. Allen and Heath, the Z series, they make some awesome mixers, and I was turned on to them by actually my equipment distributor when I was putting all of these packages together, and he was turned me on to Allen and Heath, and I did a lot of research on them. Very cool mixers. They look cool, and there's a lot of features to them. I have on my equipment page, I have the Z10 and the Z14 are featured as part of my equipment packages. They are USB mixers. And another treat for the video viewers. Hold on here, because I'm going to pull over this huge box, which is the Z14 Allen and Heath mixer. And I just got this last week as well with the R-05. I haven't. I've opened it. I've looked at it. It's really cool. It's actually bigger than I thought. It's bigger than my Behringer 1204, but I do have space for it. So this is a really cool mixer, and I'm excited about it. What I do like about the Z14, and what I do like about the 1204, the Behringer mixer, is they have the sliding control knobs. I just like that. I feel more like, I don't know if it's a DJ or what, but I like the volume sliding control knobs. And the Allen and Heath Z10 does not have that. And the Allen and Heath Z10, if you guys check that out, it's a great mixer. It's going to handle most of what you want to do. And if the Z10 had the sliding control knobs, I would have ordered the Z10, but it doesn't. It's got the turning volume control knobs. So for me, I spent a little more money to get the bigger mixer just because I wanted the sliding control knobs, because the Z14 it's got more than what I need it for. It's got a few more ports than I need, but it's going to take care of everything, and it has my sliding control knobs. So I encourage you to check out the Allen and Heath Z mixers. On my equipment page, there's a link to their website. I'll also put a link to their website in the show notes so you can check them out. And then also for USB mixers, so we have the Behringer, we have the Allen and Heath, and also there is a Alesis Multimix series. I have no experience with the Alesis Multimix series. I know they are really nice mixers, and they get well reviewed on Amazon and the other web pages. So it's another option for you to check out if you're interested in sort of the USB mixer category. Now, in terms of non-USB mixers, you have or what I have on my equipment page is the Mackie VLZ3 series. And Mackies are decent mixers. And what I did on my equipment page, I wanted to give an option to people to choose either a non-USB mixer or a USB mixer. And Mackie is probably more well-known in general, but Allen and Heath is also known. So that's why I chose the Mackie Decent Mixer. I have the 1202 and the 1402 on the equipment page, and you can see the comparison. For example, the Mackie 1202 is similar to the Z10. And the 1402, the Mackie 1402, is similar to the Z14. So for mixers, you have your choices, USB or non-USB. And in fact, when I hook up my Z14, which hopefully this weekend I'm going to do that, I'm going to experiment with it. I'm still going to send the audio to my digital audio recorder because I can, and but I'm also going to plug in the USB, and I want to hook it up and kind of see how it works and record some shows on the computer to test it. But again, it'll also be recording to the digital audio recorder. So I want to play around with them a little. I'm excited to check that out. And okay, so let's get back to, so we talked about budget under $100, or I should say under $100, budget around $250, and now a budget around $500. That's when we are getting into more. I'm going to my equipment page as a reference. $500, we're getting into more the Behringer mixer, the Allen and Heath Z10, and the Mackie 1202. And when I mentioning these mixers around $500, that's not the price of these mixers. But when you add in your microphone, your cables, your little input plugs, your headphones, your microphone stand, your microphone, when you kind of add all that in, that's the package. And that's actually what I have on my equipment page. So around $500, you could get the, say you're looking at the Behringer 1204 USB mixer. For a little more money, you're looking either at the Allen and Heath Z10 or the Mackie 1202. And with the Shure microphone, I should mention. So you're actually getting a decent setup. You're actually getting a very decent setup. And then what you can do in the future, you can add the Heil PR40 microphone. You can add the digital audio recorder. And what's cool is you have the Shure microphone, but when you upgrade, or if you do upgrade to the Heil, then your Shure microphone can be used for your studio guest. It can be used in the field. So you're going to continue to use this. So when you're in the $500 range, you don't need to worry about if you upgrade, you're still going to use your equipment. And that's not going to happen when we're talking the $300 with the Rode podcasting microphone. So it's just important to make sure you take a longer kind of, I guess, term look at what your needs are, and not rush into it per se. Just make sure you think about it, but don't overthink it and not end up doing anything. That I don't want you to do either. And then, of course, when we're talking above $500, then we're talking packages with the Allen and Heath Z10 or the Mackie 1202, but now we're adding the Heil PR40 microphone to it. The Heil PR40, depending on where you get it, is about $325, give or take. Actually, I don't think you'll find it less than that. But then there's a shock mount, there's a boom, there's the cable. It's easily probably like a $600 package, I would guess. At some point, I'm gonna put that on my website to just order the Heil package as well, with the microphone and the shock mount and the boom and the cable. But you're getting into now the Heil and awesome mixers, and then of course you can spend more by adding the digital audio recorder to that. Maybe getting the Bose headphones. By the way, I have the Bose. Let me see. I'm going to pull them off. Well, I don't know what they are. They're the Bose headphones. I got them at Best Buy a couple of years ago, and they were about $100. They're not available anymore. It seems like the Bose headphones they have now there are about $150. And the headphones are important. I mean, it's not something I would worry too much about at the beginning, but as you do this more and you spend more time in doing this, you're probably going to upgrade whatever headphones you initially buy anyway. I love my Bose. They're amazing, and they're comfortable, and I can't say enough good things about them. So let's see, going through my show notes. So I think we covered everything. We covered the budget under $100, the Snowball USB condenser microphone. A budget around $250, your choice would be a Rode USB podcasting mic or one of the digital audio recorders, such as the Roland R-05 or the Zoom H2 or the Zoom H4n. If your budget is around $500, then we're talking mixers such as the Allen and Heath Z10 or the Behringer 1204 or the Mackie 1202 with a Shure SM58 microphone. And if we are going above $500, then we can still talk about those same mixers. And I probably wouldn't, at that point, if I'm spending more than $500, I would probably not go with the Behringer 1204. I would go with either the Allen and Heath Z10 or the Mackie 1202. Or if you're really serious, the Mackie 1402 or the Allen and Heath Z14. But I'll leave that up to you. The Z10 and the Mackie 1202 are going to handle most of your needs for sure. And then you have the Heil PR40 microphone in there as well. And again, the beauty of all these packages is that they're upgradable. And when you upgrade, you can still use the existing stuff that you have, with the exception of those couple of USB microphones that we talked about. So I am going to, I always try and get smoother queuing up the music, but it always creeps up on me. I'm done talking and I forget to queue up the music. So the music's running. My name is David Doucette. You've been listening to the podcastcoach.com, all about choosing your equipment packages. If you have any questions or comments, 1-800-476-5579, or you can leave comments on the website below the episode at podcastcoach.com. My name is David Doucette. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. All right, there you go. That is another episode in the bag. Hopefully you enjoyed the video portion. You got the little sneak treat of the Ardashe 05 digital audio recorder and this big Z14, which I'm going to hook up soon. And actually, I'll probably do some sort of video something with it. Not necessarily a tutorial. Well, maybe we'll see. We'll see. But that is going to do it for me today. I want to thank you joining us on the video feed, and I will see you soon.